Hey everyone, what is going on? So I have another video for you today, and now these are battles that I did on stream, and yeah, I mean, Golisopod, I'll tell you, was a lot of fun. I did a couple sets with it, and I enjoyed it. It's not the best Pokemon in the world, it's pretty squishy, right? But it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into the battles and see what we got going on for us. So once I saw this Gramble come in, after I made the switch into Dewgong, I realized that this is probably Yonkers' team with the double fairy. I think he ran Gramble and what was the other one? Clefable. So that's what I was thinking. Clefable, of course, with that new Fairy Wind. As soon as I brought in the Dewgong, that's what I realized. Because why would he immediately switch out of Medicham if he didn't have two answers in the back, right? So either way, I'm going to go ahead and get hit by that. I do take Switch, but I also am down a shield. So I'm not going to be able to make it. Oh, no, I haven't. No, I do have a move to get into the Medicham, which is good for me. Now, again, I am predicting another Fairy type and the Clefable, and of course I don't want Medicham on that, so I'm going to bring in my Medicham right now. And I'm going to immediately go for Psychic. My opponent does make the catch, but I wasn't really paying attention to the catch because I'm like, well, if they catch, the Psychic still goes into this Clefable. And lo and behold, it is Clefable. However, that Medicham kind of going to be a little bit of an issue, I think. Because it does have a lot of health and it has a lot of HP. I don't get the debuff. It's a crunch clone, so there's a 30% debuff. My opponent will be able to get off an attack, which is not great for me. Moonblast will do a lot. Golisopod, as I mentioned, is really frail. So I'll be able to get off this X. It doesn't KO, and I'll be able to count it down. But again, I mean, they're already at a Psychic, so they're going to be able to throw it and outpace me because the Psychic is not going to be able to KO my opponent's Medicham. So I'm going to be able to get to a Psychic, but again, my opponent's going to be able to get to another move and take this win. But out comes my Psychic, and I do get the defense debuff, but again, it's not going to matter because my opponent does get to this Psychic, and this will be enough to KO me, and that is going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. So I kind of did call the team early on, but I wasn't able to capitalize. Good game. Moving on, Medicham into Bastiodon, absolutely love to see it. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I want to shout out my friend Jamie from Palette. I actually battled him when I was using a different team, and this was his team that he used, and I liked it, so I decided to go ahead and use the team. That's why I have these three Pokemon on the team. But either way, my goal here, I do take neutral damage from the Victor Bell. I'm expecting a Medicham in the back. Could be a Sableye, but I am expecting the Medicham. So, because of that, I do bring in the Dewgong right now. My opponent is going to be able to throw an attack. Unfortunately, I shield up the Acid Spray, and there we go. It is Acid Spray. And I do farm down the Victor Bell. I do have a good amount of energy, and Bastiodon is coming in. I get off the draw run, so I'm going to go ahead and switch out right after this so I can start to get ahead on energy compared to my opponent's Medicham, if that's in fact what they have. But it's actually not. It's double Razor Leaf. So I was wrong about that, but this is still really good for me because I charge up a lot of extra energy, go for the Psychic. And Razor Leaf, it takes a while to get to the charge moves, right? So my opponent's not going to be able to do so, and they can't smack down me all the way down or anything like that. So I'm going to be able to counter down, and I'm going to take that win. So good game, well played to my opponent. So the double Razor Leaf team, but still able to overcome it because I did get both of my opponent's shields. Moving on, okay. This, not great. Obviously, I am weak to flying attacks, but it's not the worst matchup in the world. I do have to invest shields. Because I know this is a Sky attack, but I can't really, I could take it, but it would get me low, so I'm going to go ahead and shield that, and out comes this, I thought it was Swampert, but it's Wish Cash. So once I saw the Wish Cash come in, I was thinking double Mud Boy, so I was thinking it was going to be a Quagsire. It's actually a Swampert, but I was thinking Quagsire. I bring in Golisopod because I know I resist all of the moves coming in from Wish Cash, but Blizzard still does a lot because, unlike Arachnoid, I'm actually really frail. So Arachnoid is really tanky, but Golisopod is not. I let them get off another Mud Bomb, which is not great, but I'm going to be able to charge up a lot of energy and go for this X-Scissor, hoping to KO the Wish Cash, and I do KO it. Now I'm going to throw this Liquidation. I can't get to another Liquidation, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this one. And again, no debuff. I didn't get a single debuff with Liquidation in these battles. And I'm going to bring in the Dewgong, maybe get the farm down because, again, I am expecting it to be a Quagsire, but as I said, it is the Swampert. So So I'm going for that farm, and I almost get it. My opponent switches out this to swamp it, and I did get a lot of energy, so I have enough for 2. And I don't know why, but my opponent just does not shield anything. I thought they were going to at least shield this one, but they actually don't. They just let it go. So I get to swamp it really low, and now I can just bring in the meta gem and just counter everything down. So I don't know why my opponent wasn't investing shields. I wonder if it was because they were doing like a no shield challenge or something. I've seen that on streams before. I don't really know why they didn't invest shields. But either way, good game. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, the Dream Lead. You absolutely love to see it. So the Sandslash goes into the meta gem. I bring in Golisopod. So I do make a mistake here. Well, first of all, I'm going to throw the Liquidation, and the Liquidation is going to connect, and my opponent throws an attack. So I knew it was going to be Psychic, but I decided to let it go because I wanted to see how much it would do, kind of like an experiment, and it does do a lot. This is going to allow my opponent to actually flip switch, because I do get off the X's right now, but my opponent can just shield and take switch, which is not good, but at the same time, I kind of knew that would happen when I didn't shield, so I kind of let it go deliberately. My opponent also threw a nice punch as well, so that's good. Because Dugong has Drill Run, so it's still going to do fine against the Sandslash, so it's kind of okay with that. So I don't know if it was really a mistake. Out comes Pelipper. I'm going to go ahead and throw my Psychic attack right now, and then I think I switch into Dugong after this Psychic lands, and I do go ahead and go into Dugong. So out comes the Sandslash, and yeah, my opponent just concedes it. So regardless, it was looking good for me anyway. I almost would rather get the advantage, the shield advantage, than the switch advantage anyway, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and move into the next one. Metachem onto Registeel, great lead. My opponent brings in the Frostlass. So kind of the same situation. What I'm going to do is see how much a Shadow Ball does. If my opponent baits, even better for me. So I do let this one go through. And I was thinking about it. It does do a lot, but at the same time, I kind of didn't think my opponent would be able to farm me down because I do resist the Powder Snow attacks. So it didn't do as much. I thought it would do a little bit more, so I was kind of concerned. But anyway, the Registeel is coming in. I'm going to be able to throw a Liquidation, hoping for that debuff. But Golisopod already did what it had to do. No debuff. That's fine because I could bring in the Metacham. And out comes Fairy Wind User. Now, of course, you know, it does have Grass attacks. It has Grass Knot. It has Moon Blast. That's a Fairy move. But I'm going to go ahead and shield that one up. Just so I could debuff my opponent. Obviously, I'll take less from the next one. See if my opponent shields. My opponent does shield. Trying to get to another attack. Not quite. I think I let this one go. I'm like, you know what? Metacham can finish this up because this is not going to be enough to KO me. And you know what? I don't know why I go for the farm down. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I just went for the farm down. I thought I'd maybe be able to get it before they get to a Grass Knot. But I'm just going to be able to farm down that Whimsicott and just beat the Registeel. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But I guess I could have thrown the Icy Wind at the Whimsicott. But whatever. Alright, moving on. What is this? This is awesome. Eelektross, I think its name is. And I know it did get Liquidation this season. I was confused at the time when I was battling it. I wasn't sure of the moveset, but the chat did tell me it was Liquidation, which is what I thought it was. And it has Dragon Claw as well. And I think it's Spark as the fast move. So very, very cool. I decided to shield up this one to keep my Golisopod alive just because my opponent shielded, so I decided to match shields. Golisopod has a high attack, so I'm going to be able to win CMP even over a Frostlass, which is pretty cool. So that will be enough to KO. Out comes the Eelektross. Can I make it to the Liquidation? I'm going for it. I make it there, but Eelektross actually wins CMP? Okay, so I'm going to let this go. It actually doesn't KO. It's a Dragon Claw. At the time, I wasn't even sure what other move it could be. So I do get off the Liquidation. And my opponent will be able to farm me down, but that is totally fine because I could bring in my Metacham. And I'm going to go ahead and do just that. Go for the farm down. I do get that beautiful farm. And out comes Melmetal. Great for me. But huge shout out to my opponent for that spicy team, right? Really cool to see that Eelektross. Moving on, Metacham into Lantern. Okay, I mean, the backline doesn't really like Lantern, right? Dugong, obviously going to be weak to the electric attacks, although you do have Drill Run to at least fight back. Golisopod, not really going to like the Thunderbolt either, so I'm going to go ahead and stay in here. I do correctly shield the Thunderbolt, which is nice. Out comes Noctowl. I could bring in my Dugong right now. Yeah, I mean, Golisopod not really going to appreciate that Noctowl, right? So Shadow Ball not really doing much. I mean, Dewgong's pretty bulky. It's actually really bulky, so I like it a lot. So I'm going to be able to get off my Icy Wind, and my opponent actually doesn't shield, which I was really happy about. I thought maybe they would fight for Switch, but they don't shield that. So I'm going to be able to take this attack and farm down. And yeah, I mean, that Lantern comes in, I'm going to be able to get off the Drill Run, and it does in fact come in. So I do get off the Drill Run right now. That Drill Run going to be doing a good amount of damage. No shield, actually. I kind of expected my opponent to shield, but they did not. So yeah, I'm definitely going to bring in and throw the Ice Punch. Going for the bait right now. Going for that shield from my opponent. And my opponent is going to, in fact, shield. And they actually continue to farm. They don't throw. I think that was a CMP, so I'm going to be able to get off my Ice Punch, which is enough to KO now, and they let it go. They had a lot of energy on that, and it's a Walrein in the back. So, of course, this is looking really good. So, Golisopod does resist all of Walrein's moves, so essentially it does wall it. But, obviously, Golisopod, as mentioned earlier, does not have the bulk like Arachnoid, so still, Earthquake is still going to chunk it. But it does resist all the moves. So at this point, definitely going to win. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Ice Punch right now and then switch into my Golisopod and take this win here. And plus, I still have a shield anyway. I don't even need the shield at this point in time, but I do have it just in case. So you can see the Earthquake still doing not half, but about 40% maybe. But I'm going to be able to take that game, and that is going to be a great game to all of my opponents. Thank you so much for all the battles, and thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.